Good morning, boys and girls of the internet. Today is Monday, May 28th, 2018. This will be vlog number 147. And Solo, a Star Wars story. This is going to be my spoiler-free review. I'm going to try not to talk about too many things that happen in the movie, but this is just going to be my impression of the movie. So, Solo, a Star Wars story, stars Alden Ehrenreich. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I've never heard of him before, never seen what movies he's in, but he's the main character of Han Solo. Now, of course, everybody knows Han Solo is Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford's the iconic Han Solo. When you think of Solo, you see Harrison. Now, they tried to portray Solo in this movie as a younger, just getting into the game type of character, which they do a alright job with. To be perfectly honest, yeah, he's kind of, has that little smarmy charm to him, like Han is supposed to, and he's also, brash. He's very braggadocious. And he's very boastful. He's like, I'm going to be a pilot. I'm going to be the best pilot ever. And it kind of shows that he does Han Solo type stuff. He's a great pilot. When he does his piloting. The movie also stars Donald Glover as Lando. Now, when Lando first showed up in this movie, you hear his voice before you see him, and you could swear that he did a very good job. Donald Glover did a good job of capturing Billy D. Williams' voice. When you hear his voice, so it's like, is that Billy D. Williams? So I gotta give him credit for that. And for the most part, he looks like that suave, Lando character. Like, he just looks like he's always going to pull a fast one on someone, not so much in a way to take advantage of him, but just it's always for his advantage. That's always the way Lando kind of works. And you kind of see that. This movie also stars Mother of Dragons, Emilia Clarke. She is Han's love interest in the movie. That's no secret, that's no surprise from the trailers of the movie. But there's some parts in the movie where they're not together, and he spends a great deal of time trying to get back to her. Now, one thing that kind of is a little weak in the story is that there's a couple things that happen that are a little bit too convenient for the plot. Like, he's trying to do all these things to reach his goal, and then his goal just happens without him having to do what he needed to be done. So, if there's one thing I have to give this movie, things just kind of happen, and they're all very convenient, and they're all, scripted, for lack of a better word. Things don't feel organic. That's like one of the few small problems in the movie. Now, this movie's not perfect. It is a very enjoyable movie, don't get me wrong. It's a fun movie. You expect a lot of Star Wars-y type battles, people blasting into each other. It kind of opens up, within a few minutes it's going to have like a high-speed chase with speeders. That's pretty fun. There's all kinds of people shooting once you get to some spaceship type stuff. There's, of course, like flying, and they do have a little bit of stuff with the Empire. It does kind of portray Han. Now, if anybody even knows anything about kind of Han's backstory, even in the now non-canon extended universe, I'm assuming they're kind of injecting into this one, is that Han wants to join the Empire, just to be like he wanted to be a pilot. So you know that's in this movie, and there's this really cool like scene where he's actually a soldier on the ground, and it's very gritty. It's not like white stormtrooper outfits. It's very like kind of guerrilla style. Like you never seen this type of Star Wars battles before. Even in Rogue One, where they did kind of have a little bit grittier battle, it's not like this. This one's a little bit more like, it's rainy and it's very muddy and very dirty. So that's something you don't really see before in Star Wars. So that gives it a unique look. After that whole scene though, it kind of goes back to the whole very Star Wars-y side. So they did a good job with locations. They have different diversity of locations. I give it. The one major like space battle was kind of cool because it wasn't like just like in space with just like a black background. There were I mean, you see this in the trailers, like the Star Destroyer like coming out of like a cloud. That's a Kessel Run. So everybody kind of figures that out. And so it gives an interesting background. It's very colorful and very bright type of cloudy background, and it's pretty cool. Woody Harrelson is also in this movie. His character, even though he's very important to the story, he's not very memorable as a character. Like for like half the movie, I forgot even his name. I was like, oh, I don't even know that guy's name. There's like another side character in there too that you don't know his name either. He's like he's an alien character. He has like it's like short. He has like 4 arms. I don't even know his name, but he was a cool character. Paul Bettany's also in this movie. He plays a villain, not the villain. He plays a villain. There's also you see this character in the trailer, and I'll pop him up here, the picture of this character, and to me, I was like, oh, that's a pretty cool looking character design. He kind of looks like a Pat Labor. You remember the anime Pat Labor? But the helmet design just reminded me of that as soon as I saw that. That character, unfortunately, you don't see in the movie too much. But the scenes that the character's in are pretty cool. First time the character shows up, they're a band of what Woody Harrelson's character calls them marauders, and they just they show up and they kind of mess things up. It's almost like pirates. Woody Harrelson, Han Solo, Chewie, all them, they're all trying to do a job, and the marauders show up, and it kind of gives you some conflicts and tension in that part. That's pretty cool. Now I do have to say one thing about this movie, going back to the actor that plays Han Solo. Nothing really against him. I more attest this to how good of a Han Solo Harrison Ford is. But in this movie, you're watching it, and to me, he didn't feel like Han Solo. He just looks like a kid. He's not like a young kid. He's like 20-year-old some odd, and you're supposed to be like a 20-something-year-old Han Solo. Every time I looked up at him, I'm like, okay, that's just a guy. He's just another guy on this team, but he doesn't really stand out as Han Solo. It is so hard to capture Han Solo without being Harrison Ford when he was 30 years old in the old movies. So Chewie, he's Chewie. You're never gonna not get Chewie in this movie. We'd see him on screen, he's Chewie. Lando does a pretty good job. He looks like Lando, and you don't ever think he's not Lando. But Han, you always have to kind of mentally force yourself to go, okay, yeah, that's Han Solo. Now, I don't know if this is going to be true, because despite how good usually Star Wars movies have been doing box office wise, they say that they're gonna make this Solo into like a trilogy, at least a trilogy, or like another movie or two, to continue on to this. I don't know if that's true, because right now box office is kind of lacking, unfortunately, for this movie. This opening weekend, I saw numbers, pretty good numbers for most movies, but this is a high budget, big, box office movie that kind of didn't meet its expectations. Now, unfortunately, I test this to multiple reasons. There's no one single reason why this movie did what it did in terms of box office sales, but I attribute it to, one, it's smack dab in the middle of two other really big movies that just recently come out. Avengers Infinity War and Deadpool 2. Those movies are still out in theaters, still going strong, with a lot of people going to see those movies. I mean, Deadpool 2 just came out last week. Secondly, most people who first saw that they were making a Solo movie were like, we didn't ask for that. We don't want a Solo movie. So some people warmed up to it after they saw some trailers or heard some things about it, and they were like, well, it's Star Wars, I'm going to go see it. That's the way I kind of was. I was like, I'm going to go see it anyways, it's Star Wars. Now, coupled to that, it's also a little bit, in my mind, too soon since the last Star Wars movie came out. The Last Jedi just came out in December. Here it is only May, 6 months later. Now, with Force Awakens, Rogue One, Last Jedi, those all came out in 1 year apart in December, in the December time frame. Now, that doesn't make it a summer blockbuster, but it makes it a unique December blockbuster. Not very many blockbuster movies come out in December, and so far, coming out in December for Star Wars have done pretty well for it, in terms of sales. Of course, can't ignore this. The fact that Last Jedi put a big sour taste in a lot of Star Wars fans' mouths. Not me. I enjoyed Last Jedi. I thought it was a great movie. But for a lot of people, Last Jedi ruined Star Wars for all time. They have their reasons. I'm not going to get into that. But because Solo was coming out, I also saw on social media there was a big push to boycott Solo, or at least not see it in the first opening weekend, to kind of send a message to Disney, Lucasfilm, the producer, Kathleen Kennedy, that we're not just going to eat up Star Wars. We want something better from Star Wars. That's pretty much the message they want to send to the whole thing. They're like, we wanted to show that, hey, you can't just keep throwing Star Wars movies at us, no matter what the quality is, and expect easy money. Now, I'm pretty sure with Solo, they're probably gonna make their money back, but not quite as quickly as the other movies. I think word of mouth is going to get them better box office sales over the next week or two, because, and I'm not gonna spoil anything here, there's a twist at the end of this movie that, for me, I go, that opens a lot of doors, and it pretty much, I was not expecting this at all. This is the most surprising thing in this movie. You'll know when you see it, and some people may know what I'm referring to from some of the animated series that came out of Star Wars. I forget whether it's either Rebels or Clone Wars, one of those two. There's something that they've actually did in those that ties into this movie, which I was surprised at. I didn't even know. I found out afterwards that it does tie into those earlier animated series. But again, this does set up for a pretty big deal for the future of at least these, not just Star Wars in general, but if they go forward with these solo movies, it puts a lot of things into a weird place. So I have a lot of questions about what they're going to do with all that. It wasn't a bad surprise. It definitely gave me a big smile. I was like, oh man, that is cool as shit. That being said, overall, this was an enjoyable movie. I went in there without any expectations. I just kind of was like, it was a movie that I didn't expect, but hopefully it's can be a pretty decent, fun movie. I was pretty sure acting would be okay. The special effects, I knew that those were going to be okay, which they were. They were all really good. The characters, they're all fun characters. They're all like, they have a lot of personality. Even though, like I said, Han Solo, he doesn't feel like Han Solo. He does have personality. He's not like he's not a wooden board that they drew Han Solo's face on. He does have a big personality. Lando is good. Emilia Clarke's character, which was her name, Kira. I almost forgot her name. Like I said, I don't remember Woody Harrelson's character name, but he was okay. He was not exactly a kind of mentor to Han a little bit. Their dynamic was okay. Lando, you saw in the trailers that he has a droid, and the droid is his first mate. Now, it's pretty interesting that they really injected some friendship between Lando and this droid. The droid has a really human character to her. It's a she. She has a female voice, so it kind of gave it a little bit of a strong. They have a very strong connection emotionally to each other. Very unlike how you see other Star Wars characters with their droid characters in the other Star Wars movie. Now, some could say that like Luke has almost like a really good friendship with like R2, but not to this level. This was like way beyond friendship. It was like Lando sees this droid as an equal, as a human kind of. This was one question I had when before this movie came out was that ship they were piloting the Falcon or not? I didn't know it was, because the little mandible gap wasn't in there, and I almost assumed that all the parts in the trailers were either it was just some other YT 1300 Corellian freighter, just another one, or it was the Falcon way before Han Solo does all his special modifications himself. But yeah, it turns out this is the Millennium Falcon in the movie. There's no secret now, which I'm kind of glad at. But at the same time, in the movie itself, when they first start flying it, it's way too clean inside of it for me to kind of believe that it is the Falcon, because how much time frame goes between this movie and New Hope? 10 years? That Falcon gets dirty as hell in 10 years. I always suspected that the Falcon was already old when Han got a hold of it. That Lando had it for however long he had it for. Obviously it was his ship first. But I expected that Lando got it from somebody else and it's an old ship. That's the way I always saw it. But if it's like I guess maybe if it is a 10-year-old ship by the time New Hope comes around, if 10 years old is long for a starship in Star Wars, I guess it's an old ship. But I just thought it was much older than that. Especially since you do see it in the prequels, in like 20 years earlier. They put it in as an Easter egg, and obviously it's just another YT freighter, not exactly the Millennium Falcon. But anyways, to recap again, this was a very enjoyable movie. It's not something I'm gonna go see multiple times like I did with Last Jedi or the other Star Wars movies. I'll buy it on Blu-ray, that's for sure. But again, it's not a super good one. It's of the last of the 4 movies they have out now of the new series of movies. This is not their best one. It's right around where Rogue One is, a little bit less than that. And I like Rogue One, but it's not that good of a, not as good as the other movies, in my opinion. So if I had to rank these 4 movies, Solo, Rogue One, really close, and then Force Awakens, Last Jedi, really close. Come fight me. I don't care. If you have a differing opinion, come fight me. I don't give a shit. So, yeah, that's my review of it. Hopefully I didn't give away too many things about the spoilers, but I hope really good things for these franchises. But if I do have one thing to say, I really hope they don't dilute the franchise too much with too many of these movies. They're going to come out with a Boba Fett movie. They want to come out with a Kenobi movie. Stop it. Give us main entries. Give us 9, and then give us a movie that's not super tied into our current timeline or around the timelines that we know of. Give us something else. Give us Darth Bane. Give us something Old Republic-y. Or give us something far flung in the future. Maybe after episode 9, maybe we'll jump it another 500 years and see what happens. Show the legacy of the Skywalkers and all that stuff in the Empire. 500 years later, what happens? I don't know. I just think that there's so many more directions they could go with Star Wars. What I will say about Solo is that they do give you a little bit more insight into the universe in terms of it's not just Empire and the Rebels, especially around this time frame. It's you see smugglers, you see marauders, you see people just kind of living their lives. You see Corellia, where they build all those ships, and you see people being you see Kessel, the mines and stuff. You see it gives you a lot of good different locations and other things that are not on a bridge of a Death Star or Forest of Endor or Hoth. It's all very different things, and it does look lived in, so that's good. That's one of the problems with the prequel movies, that nothing really looks lived in. But Solo definitely feels like it's been there for thousands of years, but it's still a future old tech. So go to see this movie if you like Han Solo, like Star Wars. You won't be disappointed, I don't think. I think some people will give it an average score. Just don't take it too seriously. Don't be like, oh, Solo's my favorite character ever, and if they mess up one hair on his head, I'm gonna be super pissed. Don't be like that. See this as kind of like a young Indiana Jones type thing, where it doesn't really have that much sway on the Han Solo you know and love. That's pretty much all I can say about that. Go in with an open mind. and just enjoy the movie for what it's worth. So, thank you all for watching. This review probably went way too long. So have a good day. I'll talk to y'all later. Happy Memorial Day. And I love you.
Your name?